What is going on, everyone? We are here for week 7 at LeMan in the Porsche Cup car. Pretty excited for this one. This is a track I always tend to enjoy a lot more than other places around the calendar. So what we'll do, same as always, we're on the iRacing baseline for the LeMan setup with the race fuel in it. We'll give you a walkthrough and then there'll be a hot lap at the end of the session. So, alright, so as you're coming down into turn 1, you want to stay as far to the left hand side as possible. You want to be in 5th gear. You'll crack the limiter, but I'll find that if you go to 6, it gives you an overrun of speed into turn 2. So I tend to stay in 5th, sort of hit that limiter, get the car to rotate in, square it up nice and straight. As soon as you get to this first total sign or the white line on the track, you need to be braking very heavily. Back to 2nd gear. So as far to the right as possible. Turn the car in nice and early. Get over the curb. Stay to the left as much as possible to then open up the right hand corner to then carry the speed out over the back of the curb. Don't go past them little signs because you'll get an off track and a black flag. Run down the hill, 5th gear. Once you get past this point, square yourself up on the right, past this last marker, brake nice and heavy back to 3rd gear. At the start of this little bit of concrete patch that comes off the white line, start to turn the car at the corner, get 2 wheels up on the curb, up to 4th gear. On the exit, you'll crack 5th just under the sign. You want to brake. It's probably just before them little markers, like the little signpost arrows on the straight. Back to 4th, I find, just to give it a little bit more bite into the corner. Get up on the curb, miss the sausage part of it, and then let the car track nice and wide right out over the back of the curb. As long as you are back on the circuit before you get to the end of the blue paint, you won't get an off track, you won't get a slowdown. So as long as you're back on the track by that point, you'll be fine. Up through all the gears, set yourself up for the big brake marker at the first back chicane. I stay on the inside through here. I try not to run in the crest of the road, so I stay on this side. And then I start to drift myself pretty aggressively across, just because it cambers up to a sort of a point in the middle of the road, so it crests over. So I find that the car's not as good in the middle of the road. Alright, and then as you're coming down, so for the first chicane, I'm braking, it's probably about 130, 125, so I'm braking at the light pole just before the 100 metre board. So the last light pole before the 100 metre sign is where I brake. 6th gear back to 3rd on entry. So 3rd gear, turn the car in just past that little LED sign, and then between touching this curb and touching the next curb, I go back to 2nd gear. Get the car to pivot and rotate on the curb. Don't go too aggressive with the curb butt because you will get a slowdown penalty here. Then let the car track nice and wide. Use all the curb on the exit here. Let the car run out nice and wide to the edge of the road. So you're keeping your wheel as straight as possible. You're flowing the car more. You're getting to top speed faster. Same again coming down here. You're looking for about the 130, 125 metre board again. There is none, obviously. Obviously, the first chicane, you've got that light pole. This one, you don't tend to have anything, so it's more just understanding the feel of the car. So there's a 3, there's a 2. So it's about here again, but as you can see, there's nothing around us to sort of signify apart from a whole pile of trees. The Armco doesn't even really show us anything, so it's more just a visual cue from how far back you are from that 100 metre board. Making sure you set up on the right hand side of the track. And same again here. Once you get to the cone, start to turn the car at the corner. 6th gear back to 3rd gear on approach entry. And then once you grab this curb and straighten the car, back to 2nd gear. Rotate the car on the curb. The rear tyre tends to drop and bounce off that curb, but it actually doesn't affect your time in any way. Get close to this curb on the exit, and then aim for the LED sign and open the wheel up to get more speed coming through. Stay on the right hand side coming down here. Once you pass the LED sign, start to move yourself pretty, not super fast, but quick enough over back to the left. Up through the gears again, and you're looking for the cone at the end of Mulsanne Straight for your brake marker. So the cone is right at the 100 metre board here, but because it's a sort of double radius corner, you've got quite a lot of time to get the car brake, because it actually is a lot further to the actual big brake marker. That 100 metre board is only signifying to this little apex here. So as long as you're coming in at a diagonal angle and you've got good brake pressure, you shouldn't lock up. You'll be able to get the car slowed down enough in plenty of time. So get close to the curb, then aim for this other curb, aim for the cone on the outside. Back to second gear. Once you get to the cone and the white line, start to turn the car at the corner. Be careful here, you can get a pretty severe slowdown penalty if you touch them cones. Get as close to them as you can on the curb. Get the car to rotate, start opening the wheel straight away, let the car roll over the back of the curb, and then up through the gears again, back towards Indianapolis. Get close to this curb. Stay on the left-hand side, the right-hand side of the track, sorry. Same with this curb, and then start tracking yourself back to the left of the circuit. You want to brake at the grass patch when it comes out to the road, so just there. 5th gear, so 6th to 5th. Turn the car in, you might give it a little stab of throttle. Straighten the car up, then big brake pressure, back to 3rd gear. Turn the car in. Clip the apex 3/4 of the way through, track the car out to the curb, and then run down to an arch. This one's a tricky one. So it's about 75 metres, so 60, 65 on a quali lap, 70, 75 on race fuel, just because of that little bit of extra weight in the car. It tends to surge around a little bit more. So your 4th gear, you want to get back to 2nd gear. Now, a couple of years ago, I would say put 2 tyres over the back of the curb, but that seems to have not be a thing anymore. You seem to have to brake on the curb sort of thing, so big brake pressure, get nice and close to this curb, 2nd gear. Once you get to the end of the curb, start to turn the car at the corner. Don't hit the curb too much, but just give it enough just to get on that apex. And then once you're in line with that last of the 4 arrow signs, then just start to pick the throttle up, let the car track all the way to the edge of the curb and up through the gears. Up through the gears again. You'll be 6th gear coming into the start of Porsche curves. Same again here, you're looking for the grass right here on the edge of the track. So see how there's like a patch of grass next to the road? So there's 2 ways you can attack this. I find 4th gear for this first bit just a little bit more of a confidence builder for myself personally. You can go in 5th if you want to try and flow the car more. I'm finding 4th will just give me a little bit more rotation and I attack the corner. So brake there, back a gear or 2 gears depending. Get up on the curb. Be patient, don't accelerate too hard. You want to stay to the right as much as possible. So a good foot off the edge of the road is fine. Then I'm back to 5th gear here, and I flow the car through the next section. So on the curb, you're sort of dancing on the pedals a little bit, just trying to keep everything in check and under you. Let the car track out as close to the wall as confident without hitting the wall. Flow the car in 5th through here. As soon as you get this car nice and straight, diagonal towards the last tree. Back to 4th gear at the light pole. And then get the car to rotate as close to this curb as possible. Don't veer off the curb. You want to get as tight as you can the whole way around the circuit. It looks like you can carry a lot more speed than you can, but it'll catch you out. Stay yourself on the right-hand side to then flow the last section of corner. In 5th gear, get nice and close to them sausage curbs without hitting them, clip the curb, let the car's going to track out nice and wide. You just don't want to be over it at the end of the thing, otherwise you'll get a slowdown penalty. And then up through the gears, flat out. I don't go to 6 here, I stay in 5th. I just don't want the overrun into the chicanes, into the Ford chicanes. So I brake about halfway through the pit entry, 5th back to 3rd. Pitch the car in, lots of curb here, lots of curb there. Set yourself up sort of in line with that second red bollard thing just up ahead. I don't go right to the end. I kind of like a little bit of a shallower entry here. I feel like it helps me to rotate the car and then pick the throttle up earlier. So 3rd gear, back to 2nd gear. Use quite a lot of curb on this entry. That'll bounce the car over a little bit, and then you just sort of want to touch this curb, but you don't want to touch it too much because it unbalances the car as you're coming out of the corner, and it sort of slows you down from getting traction. And then get as far over this curb as possible. Use all that momentum and speed. And that's a lap of Le Mans, guys. So we'll give you a warm-up lap, and we'll give a hot lap, and then we'll see you next time. Thanks again. that's a lap of Le Mans, guys. We'll see you next time.
That was a 4:02.3.